In this video, we will go over doors, windows, and walls in Revit. If you haven't yet, subscribe to my channel. I post new videos weekly to learn more tips, tricks, and tutorials about Revit for residential architects. Additionally, I have a link below this video to a cheat sheet for terms and other good things too. Be sure to go grab that. It will help in your journey learning Revit. Let's start with walls because you need a wall in order to insert a door and a window into it. If you go to the Architecture tab, the first tool on the left is the Wall tool. If you click the little arrow for the drop down, you'll notice there's several options here. We are going to go over Wall Architectural today. So by default, if you just click the Wall tool once, you'll be in that Wall Architectural command. For this video, I will be using Revit's Imperial Residential Default Project Template. So what comes in that template, we have several different wall types, but let's say for this example, we want to design a house out of 2x6 framing. So if I kind of scroll up and down in the wall types, I don't see really what I'm looking for. So I'm going to choose one that's similar to that, and I will duplicate it. So before I get started though with that, walls are system families in Revit, meaning that you can't load a wall as a separate family file, or you can't export a wall as a separate file from Revit. All of the settings that you should need for walls are within Revit itself. So I'm just going to click one of these here and say Edit Type. So we're going to duplicate the wall and we're going to say exterior, let's say stucco on wood stud. And I'm going to delete the two. I would recommend coming up with a naming convention for your walls so they're all consistent and so you can easily find what you're looking for. Now we can edit the structure of the wall. So you'll notice that the structure of the wall is 5.5 inches and the material is softwood lumber. Great, I'm going to keep that because I want to use 2x6 framing like I'd mentioned before. Now let's take a look at the exterior side of the wall. So I have 1/2 inch plywood sheathing, a membrane layer that's has 0 thickness, it's air infiltration barrier. I'm going to delete that layer of the wall simply by pressing delete here. And the finish is wood shake. So I want to go to stucco. And so I'm going to click in this box, in the box here, and I will search if I have a stucco material. If I don't, then I'll simply go to create new material and rename it stucco. There's more settings into creating materials, which I'll go over in a later video, but to get you started, you simply just need to do that and say okay. Let's say my stucco is 3/8 inch thick. And there actually is another layer I want to put in between sheathing and plywood. Maybe we insert a layer, drop it down, and that can also be let's make that a thermal layer, and maybe that's insulation. And so again, I'll search. There's nothing there, so I'll simply create a new material, rename it as insulation, and that's all I'll do for now, and I'll make that 1 inches. On the inside, I'm going to take out this vapor retarder, because I don't want it, and just leave it gypsum board. But maybe I want to change the gypsum board to 5/8 of an inch. I could simply do that. And there I have a new wall assembly with a total thickness of 8 inches, but it's a 2x6 wall. Great, that's good. Press OK, it's exterior. You want to pay attention to some of these settings here, and OK. So now I'm in the wall command. I'm simply going to draw a box for now. You also want to pay attention to your parameters and your levels, which we've gone over in Module 1. I'm going to make it go up to the 2nd floor, so it goes from the 1st floor to the 2nd floor. All right, Now let's go over doors and windows. Doors and windows are components or families in Revit. They are both families that are wall hosted, meaning there needs to be a wall in order to insert the door or the window. So family files, they can be brought in. They're created in a separate drawing environment, still in Revit, but a separate drawing environment and a separate file. And you actually bring those files or those families into your project, into your Revit project. And so they are not system families like the wall was. So if I go over to the door command here, I already have some doors in my project here in the template. If there's something I don't see, I can simply go to the load family button. And then you want to go to, I'm just going to go to Revit's Imperial Library and then go to the door category. And then I can look through what my options here are from Autodesk. So let's go with that one. This is a type catalog that's coming up. This is simply here so you don't bring in every single size that it makes, and you can just bring in the size that you need to cut down on the file size of your project. So I'll just choose 36 by 96 and say okay. Now I'm in the door command with that one that I just chose from the library, and I can simply hover over the wall, and you'll notice that where I put my mouse kind of is where the swing, the door swing is going to go. I can also press the space bar, and that will mirror or flip the door. So let's say I brought in this door and I only brought in that one size, 36 by 96, and I want to make a new size. Maybe I want to make it 30 inches by 96. So I simply want to say edit type, duplicate. So that process right there, edit type, duplicate, that's going to be pretty familiar. That's going to be something that you do all the time, no matter what you have to create a new size. So then you can rename it 30 by 96. And then when you're in here, you can take a look at all these settings and change anything you want, but mainly the width, we wanted to make that 2'6". And so you can see that the function is interior. Maybe we want to make that an exterior door because we have it on the exterior. And again, it's a good idea to think of your naming conventions in here. If some of these doors are interior, some of them are exterior, it might be beneficial to put that in the type name so you kind of know what it is. The materials and finishes, you can change these materials as well. And this is stuff that you can all schedule too. So when you have you can have a kind of a comprehensive door and window schedule and then press OK. And then that changed my door from 36 inches to 30. Some other things you want to pay attention to are the instance parameters. There's all sorts of things that you can change in instance parameters. You can find the instance parameters versus type parameters in my link below on my terms and other good things too. But for example, this one has a swinging angle built in, which is pretty cool. So if you didn't want it to be open at 90, maybe 60, maybe you think that looks a little better in your floor plan. Sometimes it does, that's an option, instance parameter. The great thing about an instance parameter, if I were to copy this over to another one, and I wanted one, let's say at 15 degrees, and one open at 60 degrees, since that's an instance parameter, it's only going to affect that one instance versus a type parameter which is the size, would affect both or all instances in the project. So windows and doors work pretty similarly. They're both families or components or families that you bring in, and there are some already in this project. But again, if you didn't want to use any of these, you want to go to Load Family and go to the Window category. Well, let's say there are some interesting windows in here to use. Let's just say I want a simple, well, let's use the louvers. Okay, now I'm in the window command. Again, you need a wall in order to host a window. You'll notice when I hover my mouse outside of a wall, you'll notice there's a cross, like a no-go. And so when I hover over the wall, the window can be inserted. Again, depending on where you place your mouse is how the window is going to insert. And you click once. So you can see with the properties drop down, we have two options, 16 by 24 or 24 by 24. If I didn't want one of those sizes, I go edit type, duplicate. Let's make it 36 by 36. And so width, 3 feet, height, 3 feet, or 36 inches. And take a look at all these parameters. We have quite a bit here. Blade angle, I'm assuming that's the louvers, so let's change that to 30. Materials. There are all sorts of parameters in here. The great thing about these is all of them can schedule, so you can make a very comprehensive door and window schedule. Okay, I'll press OK, and that changed it. And so again, take a look at some of the instance properties. So sill height of 3, we can change that to 4. We can add comments in there. And there's some other things that are instance parameters that you could add in pretty easily and schedule those as well. In the next video, we're going to go over curtain walls. Curtain walls are probably my favorite tool in Revit. They are very versatile, and there's a lot of different things you could do with them, and you can be really creative and kind of come up with a lot of things to help you in your production and in your construction documents and your graphics and your renderings. Thanks for watching.